Hello everyone, welcome back to week 3 of my Halloween series. If you're new here, every Halloween I do a series of videos on spooky, scary, themed topics, and for every video that I do a corresponding pop culture Halloween costume, and today I decided to get in drag and imitate the one, the only Trixie Mattel. Now, I am very self-aware that at least in the hair department I'm giving very Uncanny Valley Trixie Mattel. This is quite literally a $9.99 wig from CVS from Spooky Village, so I'm not exactly giving in the hair department, but this makeup I'm kind of living. My friend Michaela, who's a super talented artist, I'm gonna show her information here beside me, came to the city today to do me up, and she gave me kind of classic, like, season 7 Trixie. It took 3 hours. She did a phenomenal job, and we had a lot of fun putting it together. If you would like to see a little bit of the process and how this look came to life, I will be posting the makeup tutorial, so to speak, on my Patreon. Basically, it's me getting all done up, Michaela's doing my makeup, and my friend Sophia, who came to the rescue with a hairdryer for my brows, also is kind of in the background hanging out. So it's the three of us having a conversation about life, about drag, about pretty much everything. So if you're interested in that, please go to my Patreon and subscribe. That will be up today, and the link is down below. As you may have guessed by the title, today we are talking about season 12 of American Horror Story, also known as AHS Delicate. And I guess it goes without saying, but we're going to be talking some spoilers, so if you haven't seen the season, go watch the season and then come back to this video and we'll talk. So American Horror Story has kind of always been a mixed bag for me. I haven't watched every season, but from every season that I have watched over the years, it feels like there are aspects that are really, really great, like the visuals and the performances, but a lot of times the plot seems very inconsistent and leaves little to be desired. And I feel like in the past, American Horror Story has typically been given a pass because some aspects of it, like I said, are so great. And the fact that it's supposed to be surreal and spooky anthology horror with all of these different characters coming back to tell different stories in the same universe. I get that, but at the same time, the plot does have to make sense and deliver a solid conclusion all the way through. And I don't think every American Horror Story season, at least that I've seen, manages to do that successfully. I dropped off with the series somewhere around the timeline of Apocalypse, and I didn't necessarily intend to turn back to it anytime soon, but I did see a lot of the marketing for this new season, AHS Delicate, and I saw that Kim Kardashian was in it, I saw that Emma Roberts was back, and I was intrigued enough to think that I could give it a shot. Now keep in mind, technically I've only seen the first 5 episodes like everyone else has only seen the first 5 episodes. This is a 2-part season, and I don't know when the second part is actually coming back because filming was interrupted due to the writer's strike. But for all intents and purposes, episode 5, aka the finale of part 1, aired this week, and so therefore I feel like I have enough to go off of to judge how the season is turning out so far. But it's not great, it definitely could be better, and this is very much typical of my frustrations with American Horror Story from season to season, so we're gonna talk about it. American Horror Story Delicate centers around an actress named Anna Victoria Alcott, played by Emma Roberts. Anna is an up-and-coming actress. She's currently doing the award circuit for a big movie that she starred in that everybody loved, and she's also struggling with a fertility journey because she's trying to get pregnant with her partner Dex. While she's going through this fertility journey, she is partnering up with Siobhan, who is her publicist and friend, played by Kim Kardashian, and the two of them are basically trying to get her an Oscar, and that is a lot more difficult than it seems due to the supernatural kind of events that seem to be happening around her. The whole crux of this season, or at least the episodes that we've seen of it so far, is that Anna is kind of being gaslit by the folks around her and all of the weird supernatural things that keep happening around her. Like, she keeps finding herself in situations that she doesn't remember the next day, or she sees people stalking her and saying strange things to her, and the whole idea is whether or not we as the audience can tell that she's actually pregnant. Like, you go back and forth and you question it quite a bit. Here's the main issue though, and this is a frustration that I've had with Ryan Murphy for quite some time, not just in this show, but for a lot of his shows. Scream Queens is another good example. The whole mystery, again, is whether or not Anna is pregnant, what's going on with her pregnancy, what are these events that are happening around her, who's in on it. Pretty standard stuff. However, at least for the first 5 episodes, it felt like everything was sort of spinning in its wheels, so to speak. I personally feel like throughout this whole season, there's not enough actively being unraveled for the audience to stay invested. You just see these horrible, shitty, creepy things happening to Anna, and sure, they look cool, but you don't really ever get an explanation for them until, like, the 4th episode. And even then, it's not really an explanation, it's just at the very least lore in a classic AHS flashback sort of way, and it's interesting, but we definitely don't get to it early enough. Basically, we get a flashback to the 1500s, where we find out that Mary Tudor agreed to birth a royal baby Satan in exchange for a fruitful reign. And now this group of witches is seemingly there to collect her spawn. That's enough for fans to springboard theories and wait in anticipation for the following episodes to see how it connects to the present day, but that's really the only interesting tidbit of knowledge that we get, and again, we don't get it until episode 4. So what are the rest of these episodes padded out with if we're not getting any kind of substantial plot information moving anything forward? Well, every episode this season has kind of played out in more or less the same pattern. Basically, Anna goes to do some kind of normal run-of-the-mill errand for her or her character, you know, either going to this fertility center, or talking with her husband, or meeting with her publicist, or doing some kind of, like, general entertainment-related thing because she's an actress. And then something goes wrong. You can tell that there's some sort of standard break from reality, usually some kind of body horror thing happens to her, like sometimes she's like puking up bile, or sometimes like her mouth is getting sewn together. Maybe she's having a conversation with some stranger who we haven't seen before, or some stranger is stalking her or saying some weird thing to her. It's very clearly supposed to be this surreal break from reality, and then that goes on for a little while, and then we are back into what we assume is actual reality. It goes a great deal into making us believe that Anna is hallucinating a lot of the creepy shit that's happening to her. Or is she? The problem is that this is the format of pretty much almost every scene in the show. I'd go as far as to say most of the scenes that involve Anna. And so because you as the audience member, for the most part, you don't know what's real, what's not real, who's in on what, it all just sort of blends together because there's no tangible stakes. We don't know what's real, we don't know the actual amount of danger that Anna is in. And so we see this weird body horror stuff and we're like, yeah, that's horrible, but is it really happening? Is she just hallucinating it? And then we never get any answer. I think another main issue is that we've seen this trope play out a lot in media, right? A main character is getting gaslighted about their reality and they don't know what's real and what isn't. There are a couple examples I can think of off the top of my head that do this premise way better. For example, Severance. If you've never seen Severance, it's a great show and it's told in this mystery box style, but throughout season 1 of Severance, you are getting a lot of mind-breaking, reality-bending shit thrown your way as an audience member, sure, but they're also feeding you little increments of actual story and actual plot to keep you engaged, to keep you wanting to try to figure stuff out, and in comparison to something like this season of American Horror Story, we don't have enough of that. We don't have enough of the writers cluing us in into some semblance of a plan. If you want a different example within the horror genre, Hereditary, Ari Aster, a fantastic movie that deals with a lot of the same themes that AHS Delicate is trying to, and it's a movie so it has a lot of time to like pace out the mystery versus pacing out like the actual concrete plot of what's happening, and by the end it gives you a really wonderful resolution and fucked up resolution that you have been waiting for and anticipating, and it just blows you away. And like, I have time to be proven wrong because this is only one half of the season, but I don't think we're getting that here. So instead of really good mystery box style storytelling like in Severance or Hereditary, I'm getting more Don't Worry Darling tease, which is funny because Kim Kardashian references Olivia Wilde in this story at one point. But you know what I mean? Like, if you saw Don't Worry Darling, it was a lot of that kind of unraveling of things and weird, interesting visual horror elements, but then they don't go anywhere, or they don't go anywhere quickly enough. It sucks because I think there's actually a lot that works here. The performances across the board are really good. I mean, of course, Emma Roberts is good. The guy who plays Dex is like rightfully aloof and creepy. I think he's nailing his character well. Even Kim Kardashian, I think, is holding her own. I mean, she's not doing anything to blow me away necessarily, but that's also kind of not the point. She is a stunt cast, and she's very clearly operating as a stunt cast. She's doing what she needs to do. I think it's fine. Crossing the picket line, though, that shit's not fine. Anyway, I think what's also funny is the cultural frame of reference for this season, because it clearly takes place in 2023. There's a lot of pop culture references from this year. But it's just so funny because, like, Emma Roberts and Kim Kardashian are two very big stars that everyone knows, and here they are referencing a lot of really modern, contemporary pop culture stuff, and I'm like, are you telling me Kim Kardashian doesn't exist in this universe? Like, Kim Kardashian constantly, as Siobhan, is name-dropping other celebrities' names, and it's like, I have a hard time believing that, like, the Kardashians do not exist in this present day 2023. It's just very funny. And I guess while we're on the topic of the pop culture commentary that this season tries to make, I do think they nail one thing, and I typically think that AHS is very good at nailing a lot of camp aspects of their presentation, and this was definitely that. Basically, during one of these episodes of the show, Anna gets up to give a speech for, like, a minor award that she won, and she ends up hallucinating and having a really hard time, but what we see, or I guess what the audience of that speech perceived, was that she threw up and fainted. And so Siobhan hires this PR crisis team, the Ashleys, to kind of rehabilitate her image before Oscar season. And they do this really funny, really well done Instagram reel, where Anna sort of has to spin it into this feminist calling card moment. You know, very much like the "it's my body, my choice" vibe, but the way they choose to go about it is super campy, super ridiculous. You know, the tagline is like, "It's my body, I'll throw up if I want to." Here's the other thing I want to talk about, and I know a lot of people have criticized Ryan Murphy for this, but like, pregnancy as body horror is not a new phenomenon, right? That's been done in plenty of movies, and it's not a difficult logical leap to make, because pregnancy is very much a scary and traumatic thing for a lot of people. And so as much as this is like a campy show, it's a scary show, you have the liberty to play up aspects of that body horror. I do feel like Ryan Murphy does not write his characters who go through this stuff with a decent amount of sensitivity. And I don't mean that in the sense that it's, like, offensive or anything. I just mean that, like, throughout this season, I feel like Anna is having these issues, she's struggling with her infertility journey, and we kind of only learn about her inner feelings about that through the perspective of other people, like her partner or her mother-in-law. And I feel like it's not really properly delved into. I feel like it's just used as kind of a scare tactic. She's constantly being gaslit by everyone around her. But I feel like if you're gonna go with such a well-established horror trope, especially one that you've done in American Horror Story before, show me something new. Show me something different. Show me that you took the time to understand the plight of a woman or pregnant person in this situation. Show me that all of that shock value has a point. And I can't confidently say that this season succeeded in doing that for me, and I feel like that isn't a disappointment so much as it is just like a missed opportunity. Okay, so as of recording this section of the video, I just watched what is supposed to be the mid-season finale of AHS Delicate, and pretty much none of my opinions that I've already stated have changed. This is episode 5, so we're presumably at least halfway through the season, I would imagine, if not almost there. We're still getting these little mystery boxes to open every episode, but none of these questions have had answers. At the very least, we got a little bit more information about Miss Preacher, and the opening scene that gives that context was really, really cool. I'm definitely getting frustrated with this one, you guys. At the very least, we're getting to the point where a lot of the main characters definitively are becoming more frustrated with the situation and aware that something is wrong. But that should have happened around like episode 2 or 3, not episode 5, and certainly not the last proverbial episode of a mid-season. The other frustrating thing is that I find a lot of American Horror Story season plots to be all over the place, and this one is rather straightforward to follow, which is a nice change, but it just gets so stuck and we don't move on from anything. By the time the rest of this season comes back around, Anna will have eaten a whole raccoon carcass and grown a fully formed baby Satan inside of her, and we still won't know what Siobhan's fucking deal is. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Be sure to tune in next week for my 4th and final episode of my Halloween series. Thank you again to Michaela and Sophia for helping me with this look. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting me and giving me the opportunity to do this stupid shit. Like, I had a great time. I will say that, like, I'd never been put in drag before, and this is the closest I'll probably ever get to being in full drag, and it was a really fun and eye-opening experience, but, like, a lot of this stuff is a little uncomfortable. Like, I give major props to all the drag artists who go through this multiple nights a week to look fabulous, because it's hard. My eyebrows are glued all the way down. I don't know how I'm getting this shit off. I guess we'll find out. But thank you so much, you guys, and I'll see you next time.
You got your class in me.